But Joanne, if it's okay, I'm going to pass over to you. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks, Aoife. Okay, thank you everybody for joining. My name's Joanne Pilling. I'm programme lead for One NHS Finance in North East and North Cumbria, and I've just been asked to chair this meeting this time round, which is just a bit of a one-off actually. And we will discuss that as part of the Value Maker refresh going forward. So thank you all so much for coming. It's great that we've got 30 people so far. Hopefully we'll get a few more going forward. So the agenda today, we're due to finish at 1. There's been a slight change in the agenda because of meetings and things like that. So I'm actually going to kick off with the Value Maker refresh, which is probably helpful actually. There'll be plenty of opportunity for questions at the end. I won't be able to see people, I don't think, when I'm presenting. So if anyone's got their hands up, Ben and Laura are going to help out and flag that up for me. So after the refresh, we've got Megan coming in to do a One NHS Finance update from a national perspective. And then we've got Karen Kelly, who I can see in the meeting. Thanks for coming, Karen, who's going to do a session on AI, what it is and the opportunities it can offer you, which would be great. And then we're just finishing off with a 10-minute session to update you on everything to do with the Insights Placement Scheme that's going to be covered by Ben and Laura from the Skills Development Network. So I'll just better get started. Just bear with me while I deal with technology. I've already had a nightmare this morning. I did a quiz for you all as part of the presentation and I deleted it about 5 minutes ago. So we'll just have to go with it. Hopefully you can see my screen now. Aoife, are you nodding? I can actually see you.
Yeah.
You're the only person I can see. I'll just start the slideshow. Okay, right. So a little bit of background. I thought as we're having one of 4 regional value maker meetings that are actually organised by the national ONF team and Aoife in this case, we do a bit of a refresh because I don't know, value making seems to have been a bit of confusion in northeastern Yorkshire with different things going on in different ICSs, and people are a bit unsure about what the purpose is of a value maker, who all the value making leads are, who the ICS leads are. So I thought I'd just take this opportunity to go through everything and hopefully clarify a few things and also to kind of inform people of the way we're going to do things going forward, because we have had monthly value maker meetings taking place on Wednesdays, but we're just going to change things up and make sure we're aligned with what's going on in the rest of the country, basically. So just to give you, I apologise if people do know this already, but I am aware that some people have kind of aren't aware of it. I think people have been involved in value making through the Future Focus Finance Initiative, which has been in place since 2013. But since then, things have changed with the ONF team coming along, and we now have 3 work streams in place, which I think has been in place for maybe 3 years. It could maybe not be that long, but anyway, so we've now got three work streams with the aim of making NHS Finance a fantastic place to work. And those 3 work streams are on the screen now. The National Finance Academy, so you'll hear people saying NFA, Future Focus Finance, which hopefully everyone's aware of, FFF, and the Finance Innovation Forum. And so basically the One NHS Finance team have come up with some kind of KPIs or national expectations that we work towards, and they're all aligned to the 3 work streams. I do have a bit of a survey at the end of this, and I did have a quiz, but we'll see how we go time-wise, and how long we've got, see if we can do both of those things. So that was kind of a key to please pay attention if I manage to do the quiz, but we'll just see how we get on. So the aim of it is just to make sure that finance across the nation is inclusive, attracting and keeping good people who are continually looked after and supported from the second they get the job, recognised, rewarded, developed, not just in their own departments, but across the nation as a whole, as literally one NHS finance department, sharing best practice and knowledge, being innovative and delivering the best patient outcomes. So that's the whole aim of the ONF as I see it anyway. Now, the way that it's kind of managed or governed is through regional academy boards. So we all belong to the North Eastern Yorkshire Regional Academy Board, which is chaired by Tim Savage from NHS England. Not all the chairs are from NHS England, the chairs vary, but Tim Savage there is our Regional Academy, Finance Academy head for North Eastern Yorkshire. And the KPIs are devolved to the regional workstream leads. So there's 2 workstream leads for each of the work streams. I've put their names and faces on there, so hopefully you all know who these people are. Louisa Cowell's only just recently joined us, working with Lynn Hartney for the Finance Innovation Forum. And those people work across the region, so across all 4 integrated care systems. And I've just included a little link there if anyone's got the phones, or hopefully you can just navigate anyway if you want, to go to our Regional Academy page. So if you go on the ONF website, you'll see a menu item for academies, select North Eastern Yorkshire, and we're one of 7 regional academies in the country. And if you look at the top of the page, you'll see an About Us section, and it'll tell you what the regional academy is all about and introduce you to who the ICS or Integrated Care System program leads are. So I am one of those leads. There's obviously 4 of us because there's 4 integrated care systems. So myself, Emma, Roxana and Leslie all kind of do the same role in terms of promoting One NHS Finance, making sure everyone's aware of what's available to them, all the development opportunities and the events and resources taking place. And we've also got Laura Hartland-Adams and Ben Underwood, who are actually employed by the Skills Development Network. Ben's based in Harrogate and Laura's based in Durham. So Ben's working with the Yorkshire and Humber Skills Development Network, and Laura's working with the North East and North Cumbria Skills Development Network. Those 2 Skills Development Network areas cover the whole of the North Eastern Yorkshire region, and they support us. Part of their role is to support all of the integrated care system leads. So myself, Leslie, Emma and Roxana in our roles in making sure everyone's getting the best out of the resources available to them on One NHS Finance. Laura and Ben do an awful lot of work, and you will hopefully have heard of them through all the outreach resources that they've produced, which is being taken on board nationally, and also in the recruitment tips, which you can access through the Skills Development Network. Just to highlight, whenever you're in the Skills Development Network, you can click a link to the ONF website and vice versa. So we are all very, very closely related. If anyone's got any questions, please do feel free to ask, probably best at the end of this. Right. So I wanted to cover value making in the North Eastern Yorkshire region, and I've tried to pull together this kind of infograph of how I see it working. It's slightly different to how it has been working, but we're trying to make sure that in the North Eastern Yorkshire region we're aligned to the how value making is working in the rest of the country. So this infograph is kind of how it's working, or how I think it's going to work in the North Eastern Yorkshire. It's not set in stone, but I have spoken to a few people, and so far everything seems to be okay. So, as I said, we've got One NHS Finance in the North Eastern Yorkshire Regional Academy. Under those are the regional workstream leads, which I've just gone through, looking at making sure the KPIs are in place across the 3 work streams. And under those are the ICS programme leads supporting the regional workstream leads in that role. Now, working alongside all these workstream leads and programme leads are you guys, everybody else, everybody in the region who is a value maker. And anybody that is here just by default is a value maker. You may not already have signed up as a value maker officially on the ONF website, but the fact that you're here, you're active, you're taking part, you're listening to the information that's there available to you, then you're a value maker. Some of you may also be in other networks, which is one of the things you can do as a value maker, join another network. So I've just listed most of the networks there. The one they're coloured in terms of the colour scheme to the work stream that they're aligned to. There's a capital network there, which I've put in on purpose because that network hasn't been developed or instigated by the ONF team. That network has actually been developed by you lot, value makers. So a group of people have come together and taken it under their own wing to set up a capital network, and they've done that by communicating on the Teams channel, the ONF virtual network Teams channel, which I highly recommend people join. And you can create your own networks within there with your own communication channel, and they can be national or regional or ICS based. It's entirely up to you. So the networks are all working alongside the regional workstream leads and the ICS programme leads to help ensure NHS Finance is a great place to work in North Eastern Yorkshire and in all your individual finance teams. That's the idea. Now, as well as that, we've got value maker leads, which I didn't even know until a while ago. We've been having monthly meetings, but I didn't know who made up these monthly meetings. The people that have been attending are just enthusiastic people who want to keep value making going. But recently, the meetings have been dwindling a bit. Time is such a limited resource, or it feels that way sometimes, that people just haven't been making some of the meetings. They've been monthly, and we lost a bit of direction, I guess, a bit of purpose, I think it would be fair to say, in this region. And so we've only had maybe 4 or 5 people attending, and a lot of the time there's a lot of people from the Skill Development Network and a few others who've managed to make it. So going forward, having talked to the central ONF team, the way that it's working nationally is that we have one regional value maker lead and then a number of value maker leads. I'm hoping we're going to have at least 2 per integrated care system, representing all of the value makers in this region, and they will meet 4 times a year. So they meet 4 times a year, and basically the remit of those value maker leads is to get together over Teams. You can get together however you want, but it's certainly easier to get together over Teams and agree what the agenda should be for these quarterly regional value maker meetings, one of which is happening this very minute. So the leads decide what we should discuss at these meetings. They should be kind of enthusiastic people who are aware of what's going on, what the issues are in their ICS, in their own organisations, in the North Eastern Yorkshire, and have an input and are keen to have a say in what happens going forward, because these meetings are literally for you guys. So if there's anything that you need information on, support on, it can be on anything you want. You could have somebody do a presentation on innovations. It could be a presentation on being a peer reviewer or an accreditation assessor, or it can be anything you want. So as a lead, you literally get to say what happens in these meetings today, of which there'll be 4 a year. And then the leads will meet 6 weeks in advance of these quarterly regional meetings to decide what happens in them. The national ONF team arrange them, do all the invites, and help sort out any presentations or presenters or speakers that are going to speak along. So it was the ONF team that asked Karen Kelly to come along today with the help of some value maker leads, I believe. So alongside the value maker leads, what's also happening in this region is that we're setting up integrated care system based ONF working groups. So again, all these people in these working groups are value makers. There is already an ONF working group in place for South Yorkshire. I'm in the process of setting one up in North East and North Cumbria, and a number of people have come forward. And Leslie Stokey for West Yorkshire is going to set one up there, and Emma Sainer in Yorkshire and Humber, I think, is going to be merging all her current networking groups that she's got in place, because she's already got a number in place, so she doesn't want to create another one. So we're all trying to basically set up these little working groups of people who at the moment are just, I think the plan is to meet bi-monthly, and they're going to be supporting the other networks to achieve the actions and outputs coming out of the other networks, and supporting the leads to deliver on the ONF KPIs and expectations, with the idea that every single organisation has a representative on these working groups. I will be heading up the North East and North Cumbria one, and I'll be basically presenting the KPIs and the figures to these people, and seeing where we're falling behind or where we need to pay some attention, and we can kind of focus our attentions like that. That's the plan going forward in North East and North Cumbria, and I'm looking for people to come forward to join those groups as well. Now, there will be some overlap between people who are value maker leads and people who are in the working groups, but it doesn't have to be the same people. I think it might help if there's a value maker lead in an ONF working group, but it doesn't have to, but they'll definitely be talking to each other, making sure that everyone's aware of what's going on. And at least that's how I see it going forward. So I hope that's all clear. It's a very colourful slide. If anyone's got any feedback after this or wants to get in touch, then all our contact details will be on the slides at the end. Okay, lots of talking here. Sorry to just keep presenting. I did have this quiz set up, but I'm afraid I deleted it. Right, so I just wanted to go on to value makers in particular. I presume most people here have already signed up as a value maker, but some may have heard of this who aren't. So I just wanted to have a quick focus on what is a value maker, what it's all about. So it's part of the Future Focused Finance work stream, which is described as developing, connecting and supporting the NHS finance community. So value makers, we're going to cover how to get the badge, what one is, how to become one, what you can do, and why would you become one. So hopefully most of you have already signed up, but you can literally just go on the ONF website, the link's there. It takes 2 seconds and you get a little badge if you ask for one to say that you are a value maker. It takes 2 seconds to sign up. You just have to tick the boxes to say that you're going to contribute by promoting and engaging, be an agent to promote change, take an active role in the regional network, and be positive about ONF and their programs. And then I agree to share my details within the network and its stakeholders. Yes or no? Please tick yes. If you don't tick yes, we can't contact you, and we can't tell you about what's going on. So this is the GDPR issue that we spoke about earlier. So please do tick yes, otherwise you won't hear about anything and we won't be able to just contact you. And then it's submit, and that's it. You'll get a welcome email from the ONF giving you direction to our and pointing in the pointing the direction of our value maker lead, which we actually haven't got anymore. I'll come on to that because we need a new single value maker lead from Northeastern Yorkshire. Currently on the website, it's Natalie Cafane, who has stepped down. So I'm looking for somebody to step into that role as well. So what is a value maker? Literally, it's I've put down some characteristics, but any of you are all of you are value makers just because you're here, like I said earlier. So someone who's committed to making a difference, or it's not about taking on additional work. You do as much as you want. It's just about being enthusiastic and bringing about positive change, helping people out, basically. Some of you may have seen these slides before, but from my point of view, the ONF and being a value maker in general is just doing anything you can to make sure that when you come to work, you really don't feel like this on a daily basis, or even like this. But you go away and you arrive at work feeling a lot more like this. We can't feel like this all the time, but it'd be great if we felt like this most of the time. So as a value maker, we've got the opportunity to make this happen, I think. So what literally can you do? So there's some of the small things that you could do as a value maker. Attend these meetings, just champion One NHS Finance, show people where to find things and information. Just taking notice and thanking people is massive, I think. Supporting and encourage, and taking time to think of some little suggestions. Some of the bigger things that you can do, which people are doing, is volunteering to promote NHS finance as a career in schools and colleges. Ben and Laura are the people to approach there. If you've got any questions or would like to volunteer, you can sign up as an accreditation assessor. Try and think about different ways of doing things and sharing your different ways of doing things on the Innovation Forum website. Attending meetings event and signing up to be a peer reviewer. They're just a few examples, but there's just loads of things. And if anyone needs any help in deciding or thinking about what they can do, then please do contact myself or any of your ICS program leads. So why? What's the point? I mean, I think it's a great idea, but it actually has been said that it has many benefits. I did have on this slide why join a value making network, but these benefits just apply to basically any network that you join. So it provides a safe place for interaction without judgment. It boosts morale. It just gives you a sense of belonging and a team and working for a team. It opens your eyes to things that are going on in other places that you can take advantage of. That's a really big plus for me. It increases belonging and loyalty. And it makes connections with people outside your own organisation and the SES, building bigger networks. Pinching with pride just saves time. We're all trying to do the same thing, so we might as well use the knowledge and information that others have done before us. And it brings people closer together. Provides a support network. And like I said, you can get as involved as you wish. So it's literally what you put in, the more you get out, I do believe. It's all about this. So hopefully I have instilled in you the need to be part of a network. So if you were to go on our North Eastern Yorkshire Value Maker Network page, I'm just going to kind of hesitate here. Feel free to, while I'm talking, go and have a look at the page. So when you go into the ONF website, you will see at the top a menu. Hopefully you'll see a top of the menu, depends on how big your screen is. But at the top of the very top menu on the ONF website, there's an academies page. And if you click on that, you'll see all of the 7 academies listed, and you can just select North East and Yorkshire Regional Academy. And that will take you to the page that I showed you earlier. And if you go again on the ONF website and select at the top of the page networks, you just pick Value Making Network, find out more, and select the region, North Eastern Yorkshire, and this is what you will see. So it tells you the dates that are already in place, with today's being on there already, and the next 2 meetings being booked in are September and November. So please do take a note and put those in your diaries. And you will see the current North Eastern Yorkshire leads that are listed. I didn't even know these people were on here until a few weeks ago, and I'm an ICS program lead, so I thought it'd be best to share this with everybody so everyone knows what's happening. So I've approached all of these Value Maker leads and asked them if they want to continue to be a lead, asking them that they can commit to the 4 regional meetings and the 4 pre-meetings to agree on the agenda. As I said earlier, Natalie Caffeine was our regional Value Maker lead. So anyone who's willing to be our North Eastern Yorkshire lead will have their picture put on there and will be like the central point of contact for anybody new to the organisation to approach should they have any questions about how to get involved. And after this meeting, I'm hoping that people will come forward and say, yeah, they really want to get involved in this network. So I'm going to do a bit of a survey. This is where you all get your phones out. And I'm just gonna stop. Well, I'll not stop sharing straight away. So I'd like you all to please do a quick Menti survey and key in the code that you can see on the screen. I think I'm going to stop sharing because I can't see what anyone's doing.
Do you want to tell us what the code is? Don't stop sharing. Yes. That's the one that's got the code.
Sorry. Just bear with me. So it's www.
Mine hasn't asked for a code.
Hasn't it?
It have you straight in?
If you take a scan, then you don't need to enter the code. Yeah. If you do a barcode scan, then you don't need to enter the code. If you just type in www.menti.com, then you need to enter the code 45639302. And I will go in as well, and hopefully I'll be able to see what you're all doing. Sorry, I've not really done this in a public arena before via Teams. So if it doesn't work, I do apologise.
Technology's amazing. It's fantastic what you can do at short notice, isn't it?
Yeah, I only did.
Sorry, what was the code?
Yeah, sorry, hang on. I should share my screen again, shouldn't I? It's 45639302. I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, and what if you don't work for an X, Joanne?
I didn't put other. Who have we got here that doesn't work for an X? Can you put it in the chat if you don't work for an X?
That's where I ran it from. Claire Gravel has put it in there.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, NHS England,
Of course.
obviously. We should have known that.
I should have put another option on there. I do apologise.
Sorry.
I would say if you want to join as a Value Maker lead, it doesn't matter if you're not in an ICS. It would be great to have you, whether you're from NHS England. I think I'm just going to have to, hang on, let's have a look, see if I can see what's going on. I did this as a quiz. Oh, people are answering, that's good. How many people have we got on here before? Does anyone know? Can they shout out? 41. 41. So I need to add up now. I've got 28, 29, 30. Nearly everybody. 33. It tells you, God, this is amazing, this Menti stuff. Telling me I've got 33 responses on the first question. Have you signed up as a value maker? Yes. Wow. Well, that's great. I'm telling you all this and you know it already. Nobody's put I don't know, which is encouraging. Sometimes people do things ages ago and forget and they don't know if they're a value maker or not. What have you got? Would you like to be a value maker lead? Oh, good. I've got 6 yeses, 12 no's, and which is fine, and 14 maybes. So that's great. And would you consider being the head value maker for the North Eastern Yorkshire region? I've got 3 yeses and 6 maybes. So that's really good as well. That means we're going to have somebody in place, which is great. Yes, NHS BSA. I think your class is part of North East and North Cumbria, the NHS BSA. But thank you for putting it in the chat.
No problem.
Right, I think everybody who's here has responded, I think. So thank you for taking part. And I'll go back to my slides again. Oh, look. I will do if I can find them. There we are. Right. Can you see the slideshow again, everybody?
Yeah.
Great. Well,
You
thanks
need
for
to put
doing
it,
that.
Joe, you need to put it on present.
Oh, you can see, I know, you can see my bit. Hang on, I've gone to the wrong one. Got too many things open now. Nope. I am presenting. Can you see the whole screen? Like with the next slide, doesn't matter. Can you now see your region and your ICS need you?
Yes,
Yes.
we can.
Yes.
As you say,
Great.
we can see the next slide. So as long as you've not put anything too rude in the notes,
No, I
Joe,
don't think
it'll be
I've.
fine.
Honestly, I need a bit more practice doing this, don't I? So that's just a quick reminder of who we are, and to ask that if you would like to be a value maker lead or even the head value maker lead, to just drop me an email. You can drop any of us an email, but I guess it makes it easier if you just do it to me. And then I can collate all the information on behalf of the other. Actually, you could just send it to all 4 of us, but that might be best, then we're all in the loop. And so I'll just leave that page up in case you need to make a note of anybody's email address. And then it's kind of basically over to you to see if you've got any questions, need anything clarifying. I'll answer anything I can before we move on to the next item, which I think is about on time. I think we're about on time. I can't actually see a clock here. Oh, we're a bit behind schedule. So yeah, just to say thanks for listening. I'm sorry I didn't manage to do the quiz. It was good as well. It had some jokes in there, honestly. I just pressed delete
How
on the wrong
upsetting.
one and
All
then it
that
jumped.
effort.
I know. I know, it was very, very upsetting. Okay, so has anybody got any questions? If not, I will hand over to Megan if she's here. Megan is actually doing the session on One NHS Finance update. Oh, she is here. Great, I can see her. Hi, Megan. So, okay,
Hello.
I can't see any hands up or anything like that. So thanks all, and I'll hand over to Megan and stop sharing my screen.
Thanks, Joanne. Sorry guys, I don't have really nice slides like Joanne. I'm just doing a bit of an update from the central team about some of the things that are coming up through FFF, NFA and the forum. That just some key dates and events that you might not want to miss that are coming up. So to start with, for Future Focus Finance, we've got the Towards Excellence accreditation deadline. That's on the 31st of May, so next Friday. For the supporting our staff theme, on the 10th of June, we've got an interview hints and tip session for those going through organisational change or redundancy or any of those types of things. It's from one of the recruitment, Seymour John, the recruitment agency. They're just going to talk through some of the hints and tips they have. We've done that session before and it's actually really helpful. So if anyone's interested, you can book on via the website. We are also running mock interviews to support people going through restructures. So if you're interested in that, just get in touch with us through One NHS Finance, and Sophie's been looking after this programme, so she'll be able to set you up with a mock interview. And we have also just finished creating the NHS staff survey benchmarking tool. So I'll send around all the links to this after, because there's quite a lot of information, but on the website there's a staff survey page. And in there, there's a tool where you can benchmark yourself against previous years or other organisations in your region and sort of see where your organisation is fitting staff survey score-wise. So it's quite an interesting tool. For demystifying NHS finance, this has just taken place, but we have been running sessions for junior doctors. It's very similar to the demystifying NHS finance programme we have been running for years, but it's aimed at junior doctors, and we had over 100 people come to that, which was really great. Wow. Yeah, really good. And then on the 18th of June, we've got our normal demystifying coming up, and we tend to get like 200 to 300 people every time, which is great. And then we've also got some face showcases coming up. So Barts Health created a tool to support clinicians and managers and how they work with the finance team. So I think this was an innovation that got published. So that'll be quite an interesting session, and that's on the 26th of June. And final showcase session we've got coming up on the 11th of June within FFF is empowering your workforce to drive financial sustainability. So that would be quite interesting as well. So moving on to the Finance Academy, we have just launched the new finance promotion, recruitment and retention strategy. So this aims to transform how we attract and retain talent within the finance teams. And this is up on our website now. It's literally just been launched, so not a lot of outcomes have come out of it, but it's a really good read. There's lots of great objectives in there. And then I think at the Finance Leadership Summit in July, we'll be able to report a bit more about what's going on within that strategy. We've got a lot of our development programmes open at the moment. So we've got the Accelerate Deputies programme. So this is for Deputy Directors of Finance. They close on the 31st of May as well. We've got our new Aspiring Deputies talent pool. So this is people who are looking to become Deputy Docs. That also closes on the 31st of May. And we've got our Career Shapers programme. So this is colleagues bands 2 to 4. And this will be 1 day in person and 4 online modules. And that closes on the 31st of May as well. I'm not sure why everything's closing on the same day. And then we are opening on the 1st of June the Go and Beyond programme. So that's colleagues 8A and above. So there's lots going on. Again, I'll send you the links. Obviously not everything's relevant to everyone, but if you know of colleagues or it is relevant for you, I'd recommend taking a look at those development programmes. They're really good. And finally, the Finance Innovation Forum. So we've just published cohort 8, and we had 16 innovations published, which is really good. I think that programme just keeps ticking by and getting bigger and bigger. So there's lots of great work going on, which is nice to see. And then what we're doing is we're putting on showcase sessions to share that great work out across the country. So on the 10th of July, we've got one on which Leeds Teaching Hospital submitted and had published on innovative enhancements to the Trust's quality impact assessment process. And we've also got one from Lewisham and Greenwich NHS Trust, which is around increasing uptake of the model hospital portal. So keep an eye out for them if they're of interest, and there will be more and more coming out around that, which you can see on our events page, which I'll send you a link to as well. Finally, within the Innovation Forum, in the software skills programme, we have got, this is actually now fully booked, but it will be recorded and put on YouTube as a resource, and it's going to be around transforming NHS finance through Power Automate and Power BI. We've got 300 people booked on, with I think 65 on the waiting list, so this one's really popular. But like I said, it will be recorded, so if you're not already booked on and you want to learn more about that, you will be able to access that. So that's everything from me. I know that's an awful lot of information. Sorry, Vivian, I didn't see your hand was up.
Nice to meet you, Megan. It's the
Yeah,
first
nice to
time
meet
to
you.
see you on Teams.
Yeah,
Um,
we've shared a lot of emails, haven't we?
yeah. Just a couple of questions. So
Yeah.
first one, I know Joanne mentioned in her slides as well, for the accreditation assessor, do we have specific band requirements have to be the assessor,
No,
or
no.
anybody can be?
Yeah, anyone could be an assessor, but what we recommend, so how we do it is we run assessor training 3 times a year with David Elcock in the Northwest, because he's a whiz at accreditation. So he goes through training, we get some current assessors to come along and share their experiences, so you get an idea of what the role is and what's expected of you. And then what we do is we pair you with an experienced assessor for your first assessment. So you're not just thrown in at the deep end, you learn from someone who has done it before, and then you'll be able to go on to lead your own assessment. But yeah, anyone is able to sign up as an assessor. We just put you through the training to make sure you know what you're doing.
Oh, so there is training provided for that.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, go straight to, assess a new trust. I'm thinking that is a bit, adventurous. Another one is, I know you mentioned quite a few showcases. I just wondering if there is one, with CDDFT is already on FFF level 2 accreditation. So we are aiming to do level 3 next year.
Okay.
Is there any showcase for any trust, sharing their experience for level 3?
Off the top of my head, I'm not sure, but we have, I mentioned about YouTube having all the videos on there. We've basically made our YouTube channel into a resource platform. So each program, each network all have their own playlist. So there is an accreditation playlist. I'll have a quick look now. If we can do it quick enough to not be.
It's all right, Megan. You can email me later. Thank you.
Yeah, is that okay? But if there's not, that's actually a really good showcase idea. So I will take that to Sophie and see if we can get one set up. But there's a lot around level 2. I'm not sure about level 3, but yeah, we'll take this offline.
Thank you, Megan.
No problem. Does anyone else have any questions at all? I know that was a lot of information.
Thanks very much, Megan.
No problem.
Just before we move on to Karen, because I know time's getting on, thank you so much for doing that. On the ONF website, if you just go to the homepage and scroll down to the latest, at this first week in every month, the ONF team update a kind of blog file. You'll get the newsletter, and there's a blog file on the website that's in handily already pre-prepared presentation form that tells you all about the events and things that are coming up through the ONF via each work stream, and it's a really useful little summary. So it's just homepage, latest blog file. You have to scroll down, but there's a pre-prepared presentation there that's updated every month with everything you need to know should you lose track of it, because there is a lot going on. Okay, thank you very much, Megan.
Thank you.
Okay, so next on the agenda, it's Karen Kelly and AI. I'll hand over to you, Karen. Thank you very much for coming in and doing this for us.
Hi, yeah, no problem. I'll just share my screen and check that it's working. Can everyone see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll just do a little bit of an introduction for those of you that don't know. So I work for the NHS Business Services Authority, and we are an arm's length body of the Department of Health and Social Care, and we're responsible for providing platforms and delivering services to support the priorities of the NHS, government and local health economies. And we have over £100 billion worth of NHS spend that comes through our organisation. So our kind of service portfolio is split into 3 areas. So we have NHS workforce, which includes things like the NHS pension and the employee staff record. We have health and social care providers, that's kind of the prescription and dental charges that we refund. And we have citizens, which includes things like the maternity exemption, the medical exemption, GHIC and vaccine damage payments. And we have our 4 strategic goals, which underpin everything that we do. And they are customer, our people, value and efficiency, empowerment and social government. So that's kind of just a bit of a background to let you know a little bit about our organisation. So I'm Karen Kelly, and I am Business Innovation and Customer Experience Lead. So part of our role is to look outwards, intercept the future, and collaborate on informed opportunities for today while shaping tomorrow. I know that may sound a bit twee, but that's kind of like our mission statement. So we're looking broadly for opportunities across the NHS and the wider ecosystem for value-adding opportunities that we can bring back in the organisation. So I'm just going to do a few slides, and I'm just going to be very honest here. My role is very much about looking out and finding those opportunities. So my part of the presentation is going to be a very basic overview of generative AI. It's kind of like AI for dummies, I like to call it, so to speak, for people who have no real awareness. And then Hassan Kaji is, I'm going to pass over to Hassan, who is our Senior Responsible Officer for our AI program of work, and he's going to go into more detail around how we are utilising AI within our business to really add value. So mine will just be a very basic introduction, and then I'll hand over to Hassan for the nitty gritty. So I'll just go on to presentation mode. So what is artificial intelligence? So AI is like, we've put it in very basic terms, it's like computers given the ability to think and learn like humans. It's very much like, think of AI as a library, of going into a library of books, a virtual library, and there being billions and billions of bits of information that you can use. And having that ability to analyze that data and make predictions. So some of the benefits of AI are efficiency, obviously. It's less manual work. There's fewer mistakes, although you do need people-centered AI. We'll come on to that. Customization, the AI can adapt from us and it saves time in decision making. So it helps with predictive analytics, it reduces bias. How can it help us in like a business support function? So it can definitely help with faster and smarter tasks. So it's very good at like automating repetitive work, and it's really good at quicker data analysis. In the customer service space, you'll hear lots of talk about chatbots, and AI chatbots can talk to customers 24/7 and give us that kind of availability when we wouldn't normally have people to do that. It's also developing so it can understand sentiment and figure out how customers feel so that it can direct the customer to the right area. It can help to generate reports and write reports. And I'm going to show you a little example of how it can do that later on. Personalizing messages and keeping IT safe. So AI really has massive potential to support government and the public sector in helping us to meet our efficiency targets and get better use of our taxpayer resource. Sorry, my slides seem to be a bit stuck. So I've just tried to do a bit of a slide here around what AI might mean for us. So thinking very much about the health and care workforce and wider system. As we've said, it can remove those repetitive tasks, and it can definitely help to, like, in democratization of healthcare to patients, helping them to provide information directly with them. So it's like first touch instead of first contact resolution, first touch resolution. So I've put some things in around finance teams and how can AI support finance teams. So you see there efficiency about, it was said, automating those routine tasks. It can help to reduce those financial errors, so accuracy. It can help with predictive analytics using historical data. It can predict future trends. Fraud detection. It's really good at algorithms and monitoring transaction, and cost reduction, as we've said, linked back to the automation of tasks. So in summary, it can increase efficiency and accuracy and security while reducing the costs and enabling more strategic decision making. So we're definitely taking it from that standpoint, that it's reducing those really resource intensive tasks to enable people to be working on more value adding tasks. In the NHS, it's different. It's faster diagnosis. There's loads of stuff happening in the NHS around looking at medical images and X-rays, personalised care, very much around giving people the data to be able to make choices around how they're treated. Routine tasks, scheduling appointments, keeping records. We've probably all got that experience now of if we have a appointment with a hospital, we get a text, and all of that's kind of AI generated to make sure that we don't miss it. Predictive health, spotting trends. There's some really interesting stuff happening internationally about how, like breast screening and how they can do the AI can review the screening and give a really fast diagnosis. So it's definitely a game changer in things that it can offer us to make sure that we add value. Sorry, my screen. Right. So now I'm just going to move on to the public sector. So we very much look outward, and we've been doing some work with the Government Global Forum. So these are the themes around AI out there. So it's very much about embracing AI. You need to embrace it to stay ahead of the curve. Don't be afraid of it. And there was very much a thing there: keep up or get out of the way. There's no point in burying your head in the sand. AI's here. It's going to support and enable us, but you need to embrace it. Take risk. This is a little bit of a controversial one. In innovation will always come with a level of risk, but it's about proportionate risk. So like adopting a little bit of generative AI for some note taking is a bit different to having a completely AI-led public service. So it's about proportionate risk, and then focus on the now. So as Hassan will come on to, the world of AI and enabling technologies is forever changing. It's moving so fast, and every day things are changing. So think more about short term. Don't plan too far ahead, because if you plan too far ahead, the chances are that the technology is probably overtaking you by the time you get there. And then I just thought it would be useful to reflect some of the things that are happening like across the world, really. So McKinsey have said that 60 to 80% of jobs will be automated by Gen AI. There's only 200 civil servants who actually have AI skills out of 500,000. Countries that you wouldn't expect, like Estonia, 99% of Estonian public services are digitized, with South Korea being a second for that kind of digitization space. So lots of things are happening. There's a really interesting one in there, like Nepal having AI-based smear test, where they go around and they can have like a mobile testing facility, and they can diagnose and treat in one appointment, which is better and cheaper than in the UK. You wouldn't necessarily link Nepal to be in a very future-focused nation, but yeah, things are happening so fast, and I just thought it'd be useful to put some of the type of people who are like giving these messages. So we've got people from all over the world on there. On the next one. I'm really sorry about this, that my slides are just playing up. So I just thought I'd do a little bit about Gen AI, because you'll hear people talking about AI and you'll hear people talking about generative AI. So generative AI is about the ability to create original content in response to prompts or requests. So this is where the AI actually learns from the information that you put in. So you've probably heard about things like ChatGPT and Copilot. They are what we would call Gen AI. You have things like image generation, where people can, these deep fakes and things where they put people's faces onto stuff. That's all kind of generative AI, and it learns from things. So they're trained on large data sets, and they learn from like the statistical patterns of data, and then they grow. And that's how we say it's a step on from AI, because it's learning from its from what it sees. So there's some applications of generative AI that people are using for code generation and bug fixes, and some wider things around medical image synthesis and drug discovery. With all of this comes the concerns that are there around misuse, so the cybercrime, the fake news, job displacement. So this is a big thing around people worrying that their job, they're going to be replaced by a computer. And those ethical and legal challenges. So generative AI is a massive, powerful capability, but the responsible use of it's essential to avoid those kind of negative consequences. And I'm going to come on to some of the stuff that's happening to kind of deal with that. If I can get these. Oh, here we go. So across government, they are bringing in a generative framework for AI with 10 principles. And this is really about guiding civil servants and public servants and how to use generative AI safely. So it's very much around knowing your limitations, using it ethically and responsibly, making sure that the data is secure, that you've got the right controlling at the right stage, that you're using the right tool for the job, that you're open and collaborative. There's definitely a shift towards like sharing, like you were saying, steal with pride type of thing. We should have open source things that people can use, rather than people building every time. And that links back to the value maker theme that you talk about. So those are the kind of 10 principles that everyone's working towards, very much in the early stages. So there is an incubator for artificial intelligence, and that's based in 10 Downing Street. And they're really the experts, and they're kind of focusing all of the AI, the big AI projects into one place. And they've recently signed a paper, a collaboration charter with NHS England to speed up patient care. So all big AI projects go through this one central government AI team. So you can see we're definitely we're on the cusp of a massive revolution, and we're trying to kind of really harness that and make sure that we use things in an effective and efficient way. So this is a little demonstration of Copilot. So this is on our Bing. So I'm showing you an example of where I've typed in what could I include in a finance strategy. And this is how fast it does it. So here you'll see it's bringing back all the answers of what the things it thinks I should put into a finance strategy. And you'll see in there's lots of things, but it's very private sector focused. When you look at it, it's talking about dividends and things like that. So not really quite what I wanted, useful, but not what I want. So then I go in and type in what should I include in a public sector. This takes a little bit of time for it to work through. 5-year finance strategy. I mean, normally I would be spending hours for questions like this trawling through Google, but you see here it's bringing up what I think the vision objectives, the fiscal frameworks, all those things that you can see are very much more the type of things that we would be thinking about putting in a public sector finance strategy. And it pops it all up there, and it's that quick. And then as you can see along the bottom, it kind of shows you the references. So that should just going up to show you some of the things that's on there. So I'll just go to that. So you'll see it can help we use it, and we use this. The one thing I would say about using I've used Copilot, you've used ChatGPT. You do have to be very careful about what your organizational requirements are. We never only use like public data or data that's in the public domain to put in there, but it can really help speed up for you in your day-to-day work, writing and documentation, writing and drafting reports, like a first start around like a job description or something. It's really good at summarizing articles. So if you've got articles that are in like the public domain that you've got there, you could put that in and say, summarize this into a 1 page, and it'll do that. Generating first drafts of reports, as long as it hasn't got any private information in there. But you see there's very much something in there around like, it depends on the speed, the response time depends on your kind of internet speed. And as I said, you have to be very careful. Sometimes you have to put multiple things in there around your questions. You have to really hone your question set down. But it gives you all the references there, as you can see along the bottom here, where they've got the references from, and it references in that summary. And it's just a really, like a great kind of, if you have never used AI and you're thinking about experimenting, it's a good kind of way to get into it. I think that's my last slide. So what I'll do is I'll hand over to Hassan. So my presentation is very much being about how to get into using AI, or if you don't really know much about AI, Hassan is the AI expert, and he's going to tell you how we've harnessed some of the potential and what we're doing in the NHS BSA. So I'll hand over to him now. Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. I'm going to take a little step back and say I'm not an expert. However, I think sometimes when you know more than the person next to you, they see you as an expert. So what I do know is what we're doing at the BSA around Gen AI. And I think what I hope my kind of presentation does for you is to say everything that Karen's spoken about around the developments in different sectors globally on AI and how that dovetails with what we are doing at the BSA, and hopefully you can see how they link. And so my my presentation really is around how we are looking to introduce Gen AI at the BSA, and I'll run through the slides. If at any point anybody has any questions, if you don't mind sticking them in the chat, and then I'll come back to them at the end. So Karen's already gone through what generative AI is, and I just wanted to touch on this a little bit more. So at the BSA, we have been deploying artificial intelligence for years, and a lot of that artificial intelligence has been around machine learning. So machine learning, like generative AI, requires a large language model with lots and lots of information in, as Karen described. And what machine learning does is it learns your pattern of work and then it repeats that for you. So you train it to do what you want it to do, and then it'll do it well, and it'll do it quicker, faster, probably cheaper as well than a person can. And that's machine learning. It's learned to do the job. What generative AI does is it does all of that, but then it learns and creates new things. And so if it sees an inefficiency, if it sees something else that it wants to do, it will do that. And that's where the word generative comes from. It generates new content. And to give you a practical example of that, generative AI is used now across healthcare. So radiologists and doctors use generative AI tools to read images that you might have as a result of a scan. What they ask the generative AI to do, for example, is, can you check for a particular thing? It will do that, and then it'll come back to the doctors to say, we've checked that, but we've also found this. You might want to have a look at that. And so that's the difference between what we've used before, which is machine learning, and generative AI. And that's what's causing a lot of excitement, but a lot of concern as well around and how it's applied. So I just wanted to touch on what generative AI. And if you want to get really scared, go onto the OpenAI website and you'll see the latest version called for Omni. And there's a little video on OpenAI's website around their very latest iteration of the generative AI. It's fascinating, but I won't say any more. I'll let you have a look at that in your own time. So, why are we all talking about generative AI? Well, I think it was around about October, November 2022 when I first heard of ChatGPT, and I think it had just launched around about that time. And it was, what's the guy from Dragon's Den? Stephen Bartlett, I think it is. He went on TV and he was talking about this thing called ChatGPT and how it will change everything. And I became really interested in what that was. And so ChatGPT on its launch reached 1 million users in 5 days. And you can see from that chart how long it took some of these other big names to get to 1 million users. And that's really significant because what it means is you've got a critical mass of users now looking at ChatGPT for personal use and business use. And so it can no longer be ignored. It's out there. And the word democratization, I've used that because before ChatGPT came along, if you wanted to use artificial intelligence, machine learning, you probably needed to have technical expertise to do that. So you'd probably need some training in machine learning. You'd need some level of knowledge around how to use that technology. With ChatGPT and generative AI, that's other forms of generative AI, you don't need to be an expert in the technology. You could just be an interested person in your profession or in your personal life. My kids use it for their homework. We were using it last night because we couldn't solve this maths problem, so we went on to ChatGPT and it helped us do that. So through democratization, which means everybody can use it, we've got this rapid adoption. And what that meant for me at the BSA was, well, we are a national organization, we deliver at scale. Everybody is talking about how this is going to revolutionize the way we do our business. It's going to give us more efficiency, more productivity. I was thinking about those things and I needed to try and get our colleagues and our senior leadership team on board to back a project to implement and well, not implement but test generative AI with a view to implementing it thereafter. And I walked through 3 examples with our leadership team to try and get them to kind of understand how generative AI relates to our business with examples from the sector. So the first kind of example I used was customer service. So the NHS BSA, our organisation, has a contact centre. We have about 500 to 600 people in that contact centre. It obviously comes at a cost. We have a number of services that we manage through our contact centre, and we receive thousands upon thousands of written contact into the contact center. And so Octopus Energy were one of the first that were kind of public around what they were doing with generative AI. And you can see the headlines there. In their implementation of generative AI, they can now do the work of 250 people through generative AI. But that's not the only story here. The other bit is, and in small writing, it probably should be in bigger writing, is that the emails that were written by AI back to the customers who had queries had customer satisfaction levels of 80%. And that's comfortably better than the 65% customer satisfaction levels that were achieved by skilled, trained people. So not only is the accuracy better, but the customer satisfaction levels were higher. And so you've got the efficiency, you've got the productivity, and you've got the quality coming out of Octopus Energy. Now, I'm not saying Octopus Energy made any of those redundant. I don't know what they did. Maybe they repurposed and put them on different work. But you can see the impact that generative AI has on a business that does customer service. So that was one example. The other example that I used to kind of talk to our leadership team about was professional services. So finance is a professional service for us. We've got commercial, we've got project management. So as an organization, we have a number of different professions in our organization. I use the example of the law firm, of the law sector, sorry, legal sector, and a product called Harvey. Again, Harvey is based on ChatGPT, but it's specifically designed and trained with legal cases and legal information. And so lawyers and people working in that sector are now using Harvey to enhance their work. And so it's not replaced any lawyers, but what it's doing is improving the quality of their work and their productivity levels. And so when you have researchers going off to find case law, when you've got paralegals who are writing up notes from conferences, writing up briefing notes for clients, Harvey is now doing that, and it's giving lawyers and legal professionals a head start. So when you think about efficiency and productivity, it's having an impact in that particular sector, and therefore you can assume that across different professional services you can find use cases also. And then the third area that I talked to our leadership team about was software development. So we as an organization, we employ around 200 software developers. There's a lot of development work that we do as an organization. So we are building digital services. In addition to that, we have probably double the number of software developers given to us or provided to us through our contracts with suppliers. So we have a large software development community at the BSA, and this is one of the areas that's been talked about quite a lot in the sector. And so generative AI allows developers to work quicker, faster, which means they can focus more on more meaningful problems. So, for example, if you were to ask ChatGPT, in plain English, can you give me the JavaScript code to put a red banner of this particular size on a website? It will give you the Java code. Whereas previously you would have developers developing that script. But the other thing is when developers do their work, they also have to do documentation so that anybody coming to look at what they've done, that audit is there and that documentation trail is there. These tools now document as the software developers are coding, and so their productivity levels are increasing. And the thing about doing more meaningful work, it means they're not having to do the documentation. It's being done for them in real time. And so there's some big statements here. Generative AI can cut months from transformation programs. I think that is true, and we're seeing that happening in different spaces. And so this is what I wanted to talk to our leadership team about, and this was back in September to December last year. Gave them all of this, and I said, can I have some money, please? Because I want to run some experiments, proofs of concepts to see what our organization could do in this space and whether we could apply it and achieve efficiency and greater productivity. And so we did get the funding, and we've been running a discovery project since January, which will conclude in July. And the vision for our discovery is that between January and July, we will want to have proven that Gen AI can be applied to our organization to significantly improve the efficiency in the things that we do and the way we deliver our customer service to our customers. So that is the vision for our project. I don't know why the slides are presenting in a funny way, and you can see the notes. And so the way we've kind of sliced our discovery is to have a look at 3 buckets or 3 lenses. One is personal efficiency and productivity. So we wanted to test how each and every person, how they could benefit from generative AI. So that is me, you, and other colleagues. How could we personally gain from the use of generative AI? The second bucket is how do we apply generative AI at a professional level? So for finance colleagues, for example, there are tools that are already being deployed. So at a professional, so finance profession, or like I mentioned before, software development profession, how could we apply Gen AI to make things more efficient and help us be more productive? And then the third area is at an organizational or service level. So what we mean by that is we deliver services. Can we build in generative AI to make those services better. If you've used NHS jobs before, for example, could we build in generative AI capability in there that helps you apply for jobs more easily? Or if you've done shortlisting before, long listing, shortlisting, could you get generative AI to do that for you, do the long listing, so you're left with a shortlist, for example, so therefore helping you become more productive. So they're the three areas that we are investigating right now. But the context to all of that is, I was told by our chief executive that he did not want us to appear anywhere on this paper or any other paper. And so he has what we call the Daily Mail test. And so whatever we're doing in this discovery piece means we should do it safely. It's got to be secure. And we're very transparent, and we're doing impact assessments as we go, because we do not want to be out there. I learned a phrase from our CEO. He's called Michael Brodie, and he said, "We do not want to be at the bleeding edge." I'd never heard of bleeding edge. I'd heard of leading, but not bleeding. And so I had to Google that while I was talking to him under the table, because I didn't really know what he meant. So I did promise that we wouldn't be bleeding edge. I don't even think we want to be leading edge. I think we want to be falling in behind those that are already implementing Gen AI, because the last thing we want is NHS information data, NHS our organisation in the press. So I want to try and stay safe from that perspective. Just to give you a very high level kind of view of what we're doing. The first activity that we did was we kind of did a search of Gen AI products. So we're working with a partner, an external partner called Agilicis. We did a search and created a catalogue of the different types of Gen AI products. The reason for doing that is because when we then went to do the interviews with our colleagues across the business to find out what business problems they had, we had an idea of what products might be available to help them with their business problems. And so we did the product search. We had over 100 products catalogued. We then did the interviews. We talked to different business colleagues in the BSA to understand where they were having problems, where we thought we could improve their business processes with AI. And we did some research on how we might build an architecture if we were to implement that. And then we've got a fourth stream around researching what policy we should have in place and what governance we should have in place for generative AI. So the next phase in the green blocks, you'll see as a result of all the interviews, the interviews were turned into what we call use cases. So cases that we could apply generative AI. What we then did, and I'm going to go on to, I'll come back to that. So we did the use cases, and we started to develop our governance and policy and guidance. And then we've gone into our proof of concept. That this is the exciting bit. We're actually testing generative AI against some of these use cases. So the use cases themselves. So we had 100 plus products in the catalog. We did 30 plus interviews. We had more than 40 ideas. And then we had 30 use cases, which we then prioritized down to a number that we could take into. You have to forgive me because like Karen's, my slides are now playing up. Yeah, so we had these 30 use cases here, and then to prioritize the use cases into ones that we could take into proof of concept, because we could only take a handful into proof of concept. We used what's called a proposition value canvas, and this is just a template that you use to understand the value of what you're trying to do. So this was use case number 10, the coding example that we talked about before. We applied 4 criteria, which was cost, benefit, risk, feasibility. So how much would it cost to do the proof of concept? What could the benefit be if it worked to the business? What are the risks? How feasible is it for us to do the proof of concept? When we start to do the scoring, this one scored particularly high, and this is one that we took into the proof of concept stage. So we did that across the 30 use cases, and we've ended up with these proofs of concepts that we are working on right now. So very, very briefly, the very first one there in tranche 1, I've renamed that to phase 1 and phase 2 because tranche is too hard to pronounce. And so phase 1, customer insights. So we get a lot of survey data back when we do staff surveys, for example, and there's a lot of written text that comes back, which somebody has to read and understand and draw conclusions from. So we're running generative AI on open-ended data. So that's the kind of data we're talking about. We've got we were told that actually it's really hard to write job descriptions and then job adverts from those descriptions, that it takes a lot of time. So we're running a proof of concept to see if we could do that quicker and better. Supporting drafting documentation that comes from meetings, so meeting minutes, notes, actions, those kinds of things that take time and draw people's attention and resource away from higher value work, where we're seeing if we can do something there. And then the coding example, we're running that. And then phase 2, we're working with our marketing and comms colleagues, because in marketing and comms is where we're seeing a big impact in other sectors where generative AI is writing the content and suggesting content, and then you can actually schedule things through generative AI to push it out. Pensions. Now, this is a big one for us, and we've put it into phase 2 because it's taken a bit of planning to get there. But if you are an NHS pensions member, I'm guessing most of us are on this call, if you've ever written into the pension service or asked for something, it either takes ages to get a response back. If you're lucky, you will get a response back, but sometimes it takes a while. But actually, a lot of that information that customers are asking for is on our website, but it's really hard to find. And so we're looking at how do we build a generative AI assistant so that it can find that information for you, and therefore you won't be calling the contact center, which is a cost to us. And actually, when you do contact the contact center, sometimes our own agents can't find the information because it's buried somewhere deep in the website. And so we're hoping generative AI can help us on both counts. The hub is our internal, what's it called, intranet. So it's similar to what we're doing on pensions. And customer contact center, very similar to pensions. And then there's a more technical one around pharmacy invoice interpretation. So using generative AI to kind of interpret what we're getting back from pharmacies on their invoices. I appreciate I'm taking quite a lot of time here. So the last couple of slides, a very high level. We are very, very clear that there are risks associated with generative AI. There are ethical, moral, security, there's all sorts. And so a lot of what we're trying to do in a discovery is learn what those are, hence why we haven't jumped straight into implementation. We want to learn first and then go into implementation. And then of course some of the considerations we've already talked about. So it's exciting. It's also scary for many. There are some very, very big questions as well. One of the big questions that we always get is, will it impact on my job? I don't know the answer to that. What we're focused on in what we're doing is proving whether generative AI can be done safely at the BSA and whether we can achieve efficiency and productivity. I think being in the NHS and the targets that we have, that this will help achieve that 2%. I'm pretty sure it will, but it may come at a different type of cost, which might be that we have to think about jobs and people and all the rest of it. So my job is to pose those questions. There are people that get paid a lot more than me who can answer those questions around what the impact is. But that's where we're at. Hopefully by July we will have reached a point where we've concluded all those proofs of concepts from phase 1 and 2. And the idea then is to present a proposition back to our leadership team and the board on a way forward. So that's all I wanted to say. I'm very happy to take any questions or now or later if you like. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hassan and Karen. That was absolutely fascinating. You hear the term AI, but I've got a really good picture of how it can be used now. So that was brilliant. I'm absolutely shocked though that how behind the times I am. I've only just heard of ChatGPT in the last year. I can't believe it's been out since 2022, and that was only because Lynn told me about it. Interestingly, just as an aside, Lynn put on the chat, if you search up why become a value maker, it gives you on Copilot, it gives you lots of test cases and explains it for you. So I could have just got it to do my presentation for me.
It's quite frightening, isn't it? Because we did that. We put in would put in job descriptions for our own jobs, and it literally brought it back what our job description was, and this you can really save loads of time with it doing just
Yeah.
even those little things. So
I think we just need to get into the habit of using things like that, don't we, rather than
yeah.
being scared of it.
You
I have a few questions.
Yeah.
I just wondered, it seems that you're doing a lot. When did you start all this? Do you have like a dedicated team looking at the areas that you need to focus on to start implementing
Yeah.
AI for? And how long does
Yeah.
it take?
Yeah, I think if my journey was September 2022, sorry, September, October, yeah, around about that time is when I started to have the conversations with the people that have money in our organization, because you can't do this without a dedicated team. So that was a really good point, Ryan, because this can't be done in a day job. It's too big. There's too many considerations, and you need expert people in your team as well. And so my journey was, can I get our leadership team to back this? Sorry, not 2022, it was 2023. Can I get our leadership team to back this? If yes, can I get them to fund a dedicated team? And so the answer was yes, with obviously those constraints that I was given about it not being bleeding edge. And then can I get the right people in that team to help? And so all of those things did take quite a while. Actually, it was September 2022. So I started to float the idea in 2022. Throughout the early part of 2023, it was trying to get traction at that time. By spring 23, I'd worked with a number of people to create the scope, and then I presented a paper to the leadership team, and it was in September 2023, almost a year after I started talking about it, that I got the money. But then I needed time to get the team together, and it was in January 2024 when we started in earnest. I don't think you'll have the same journey as me if you were to do the same, because generative AI has moved on to a point now where it's almost accepted that you have to do and think about it. Whereas when I was trying to push it, it was a bit early. People were just saying, "What are you talking about? Have you not got a job to do?" kind of thing. So
It sounds like it's very much come from yourself. Would that be correct? Or
yeah, you
like
need
kind of bottom up rather than
yeah, you need people who get up to speed and are passionate about it and can give the assurance to your senior leaders, because what they think about is, what if it goes wrong? They'll be thinking about the productivity gains, but they'll also think about, do I really want to be in front of the parliamentary accounts people explaining why we've lost all of that data? And so you need someone to push it. So if you're from finance and you've got a genuine interest, I'm pretty sure in your profession, generative AI is making a difference in one shape or another. And if you're passionate about it, it's about learning where that difference is being made and taking those ideas to the right people in your organization. And you will find that there are like-minded people who want to do the same. You build that coalition, you gang up on others, and you go and then you go and get people to back you.
Sounds like you'd make a great value maker, Hassan.
Maybe. Good sales. Oh, I see where you're going with that, Joanne.
Sounds perfect. Just one last thing from me. So once you'd kind of got the team together and the funding in place and everything, did you get much resistance from other team members? Were people kind of reticent and a bit scared of taking it on? Oh, sorry, it's my dog.
No, it was so from a business point of view, we had a queue of people saying, I've got this problem. I think generative AI can help us. Can we be part of your proof of concept? So from a business point of view, we had a lot of interest. We have a lot of technical people that want to be involved because it's the new thing. It's what people want to get involved in. They're not naysayers, but the people that worry the most are the people you'd want to worry the most, your cybersecurity, your information governance colleagues. And like I said before, our HR people team, they do worry about the impact on colleague numbers and jobs. And I genuinely can't sit here and say that there won't be an impact, because these tools and technologies can do things at such a pace, at such accuracy, that they do it better than we do as humans. That doesn't mean to say you don't need us anymore, but you might need fewer, so that there will be an impact. But we need to see what that impact will look like. So yeah, you get a mix. You get a mix of people.
Thank you very much. That's really helpful, really insightful.
And I guess back in the day, we were talking about this the other day at work, you know, when computers came in, which is probably pretty much within all our lifetimes, or a lot of us anyway, when it came in, everyone, oh my God, accountants will be gone, all the finance, why would anybody need a finance team? What we've got is 110 ledgers lying around, we've got to add them all up, oh my God, now we don't not needed. And actually, you know, workforce has gone up, because just because things can be done quickly and more accurately doesn't stop the fact that you still need to do more and more and more and different work, doesn't it? So maybe this would be used to do all the boring stuff, and then you can get on to do the more strategic stuff and the working forward and all the things that everybody's requiring us to do all the time that we just don't get time to do, because I'm too busy trying to figure out how to get a sodding invoice paid. You know.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jenny. Yeah, that's great.
And I'm sorry, Kelly, I know you're looking to come in, but just on that, Jenny, there's a phrase, I didn't coin this, but I do use it quite often, that it isn't that generative AI or that AI will replace you. It's the person using AI that will replace you. Now, that's quite a blunt phrase, but I think it is true that in many professions, like software development, for example, it will come a point where a lot of what they used to do becomes automated. And I know there's a comment in there about SQL scripts. It's going to happen. So if you don't get on and understand it and know what it's doing, then you are going to be out of date in terms of your knowledge and skills. Sorry, Karen. You got two first names. I called you Karen. Sorry, Karen.
Yeah, sorry, I just want to come in on that, on a comment that Lynn's put into the chat around Copilot. And I know I've mentioned Copilot, but Microsoft Copilot, I think there's like 60 different products within Copilot, and a lot of those aren't enabled. So you just have to be really careful. And I'm sure Hassan will back us up on this, on what you're using and what data you're putting into Copilot if you're gonna try it out. So there's all sorts of things about like different tenants, and you know, if you put stuff in, anybody could see that data, and that comes back to the kind of stuff around the governance and making sure that we're using it in a safe way. So the potential is absolutely massive, but it's just like, you know, as Hassan's saying, it's about that measure and making sure that we use it safely, and we've got those guardrails up and we're following them. So yeah, that was it from me.
Yeah, on Copilot, Microsoft 365 will have Copilot. Whether your organization turns that on for you is a different question, because your administrator will have a button in the background. Can they trust you to use it? But it's not just a trust issue. They just, as Karen's explained, there's a lot of work to be done to secure information. So, for example, if they switch on Copilot for you and you run a search, oh, can I see Jenny's HR files, and I'm not Jenny, it might return that back to me because it's gone off to search, and it will search and it will come back. And so if you don't have those security things in place, those guardrails in place, it can be really damaging. So I'm sure your organizational technical teams are looking at how to release Copilot functionality to us all, because I think we will all benefit from it. I think there was a comment in there about PowerPoints and stuff. It's just a no-brainer. We've just got to learn how to do it safely.
I think there's a hand up. Is it Amy? I can't actually see. I think it was Amy put a hand up.
Yeah, it is. I was just saying, we've had an email this morning actually from Caroline Booth at FSD around some virtual training Microsoft end user training, and there's something about AI and Copilot in there. So if you've not seen it, it might be worth just reaching out to SDN and asking them. So there's definitely something out there. I tried to share it in the chat, but it won't let me.
Thanks, Amy. Has anybody else got any further questions for Karen or Hassan? I can't see any hands up. Well, that was brilliant. Thank you guys for your time and sharing all. Oh, there's a hand up from Michael Hanwell. Go ahead, Michael. Let's see him. Michael, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
All right, sorry about that with my mic. It was just connected to what you were saying just then around having access to some of the sort of AI platforms that are being released. It was quite interesting that in the previous NHS organisation I worked for, they were sort of all blocked and sort of flagged as malicious content, and I was unable to access them. And I'm sure there was a process or reason behind that, which is fair enough. But just a question of, in your sort of experience so far, do you think that sort of, what's the culture like in the NHS? Do you think it's amenable to introducing these innovations?
Yeah, in my view, I think now if you were to buy software, if any of your commercial teams and your technical teams and even the business colleagues that are funding that are looking to bring in new systems, they're going to be asking, has it got AI? What AI capability does it have? Because it's not even the future anymore, it's right now. And so I think the culture has changed, and it's a matter of months that it's changed over. So you're no longer just looking at functionality, you're looking at how much automation is built into these things so that you can get the benefit of that. And I'll just give an example where we're procuring what we call a stakeholder relationship management system. Now, 2 years ago, it's like a CRM. You just go off and you go and get one and you put all that information in there and happy days. But now we're looking for that plus the ability for that tool or system to be able to generate reports and insight on our behalf that we might have had to have done ourselves. And so I think the expectation will be, especially in our professional kind of capacity that we all work in, that we have support and help from these tools. And I think the important thing, sorry, just one final point. I think the important thing, Michael, is I think your technical teams are on the same page, and your information governance and cybersecurity and all of those guys are on the same page now.
Yeah, I was just going to say as well, to your point, Michael, I know in the Department for Work and Pensions have banned Copilot on all of their machines. So you can't access it for work or personal use on a work machine. So I think that's, some of these cases are a little bit extreme, but it is very much that kind of fear factor, isn't it? It's about getting those safe guardrails in and knowing what you can and can't use. And it's, definitely not ignore it, but embrace it in a safe way.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Thank you.
You're on mute, Joanne.
Thank you, Karen. I can't see any more hands up, and I don't think there's anything else in chat. But yes, thank you very much. Really fascinating presentation and well done. You'll have everybody wanting to work for the NHS Business Services. And yeah, please take note of Hassan and his value-making abilities, because it sounds like it just needs one really enthusiastic person to make a big change. So yeah, thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you.
And, okay, thank you very much, guys. Well, we're running a bit ahead of schedule, but our next insight is Insights Placement Scheme. So I'll hand it over to Ben and Laura. I don't know who's going first, but I'll leave it to you guys. Thanks both.
1 second, I'll just share my screen. So, hi everyone, I'm Ben Underwood. So like Joe mentioned at the beginning, I work with Skills Development Network here in Yorkshire and Humber, and my colleague Laura Hartland-Adams works in the North Cumbria region for the Skills Development Network. And we're working alongside One NHS Finance and placement managers to deliver what's known as NHS Insights Placement Scheme. So a little bit background. So most of you probably have heard about us, but if you haven't, the placement scheme is a 12-month band to work experience opportunity for a person 18 or above who has finished college, they don't intend to go to university, and they're also from a lower economic background. So we're currently having applications from across our regions from people who are interested in gaining experience and what it's like to work in NHS finance. So the end result from this is for them to learn all the necessary skills for them to either end up in a junior role within the finance department or to apply for apprenticeships so they can jumpstart their career. So as of today, Grace at One NHS Finance has kindly provided us with the numbers. Yorkshire and Humber have 41 applications submitted, and the North Cumbria region have 14. We were in second place, but the Midlands has just beaten us, so they've got 43. So hopefully we get some more people in by the deadline. So the deadline for all applications is this Friday at 5 p.m. So the reason why we were here to talk to you all is we need volunteers from the Value Maker Network. We need buddies for these new people who are going to be starting in September. So the ONF team have asked us to speak at Value Maker meetings to ask for people to become a buddy, which involves they attend a meeting, a 1-hour meeting every month with a successful applicant, and it's just an opportunity for them to ask questions and gain some inside knowledge about what it's like to work in finance. So they don't necessarily have to be from the same organisation. It's ideally they're from the same ICS region. So we currently for Yorkshire and Humber have applications open for York and Scarborough teaching trusts. We've got Leeds Teaching Trust, Hull, South Yorkshire ICB in Sheffield, as well as Mid Yorks and Calderdale and Huddersfield. Laura will be able to tell you about the Northeast. I can't remember off the top of my head who is there. But like I said, we're currently looking for buddies who will just have a friendly conversations, be a point of contact for them. So if they've got questions that they're afraid to ask their placement managers or colleagues, they can come to you via Teams and just ask these questions and then just build that friendly relationship with them. So if you are interested or know of anybody who wants to be a Value Maker buddy for these students, our emails are on the slides that I'm presenting. So just drop us an email and we would love to get some volunteers from you. Like I said, deadlines are closing on Friday, so there's currently 2 days left. So the QR code at the top is the application form. So try and push as much as possible. The scheme, if you go onto the Skills Development Network LinkedIn pages, we've got a few posts on there which will direct people to where they need more information or how to apply. So it's just a call for try and get as many more applications through just before the deadline. So if you've got any questions about this, we are hoping to run this again. So if your organisation isn't involved right now, but you like the idea of offering these opportunities, again, send us an email and we can have a conversation afterwards to discuss how you could get involved with the 25-26 applications. I'll stop sharing now, or I'll drop our emails into the chat as well. So
I'm
you've
already
got that.
doing it, Ben.
Brilliant, thank you.
I've just done it and
so-
spelt Ben's name wrong. Yeah, so ignore mine.
Underwood too, NHS.net.
No, that's right.
No, I put RE.
Oh no,
Underwood,
but yeah, Joe beat me to it slightly, but yeah,
Sorry.
go with mine. It's all right, thanks, Joe. So as Ben says, we're actually really proud of what we've achieved so far this year. The fact that it was the pilot in London last year, some of the team members that are and as value makers that are on the call now. Theo, I can see your picture. You've been really, really fab. I'm not sure who else is on the call because they're all shrugged down, but some really great interactions, some really great working across the areas as well. We'll say we've got NEY, Northumbria, Newcastle and Nenk, and kind of like northern of the region, and they're working together in terms of how they can advertise. It's been really great raising the profile of finance in the NHS as a career option, people that weren't aware that we offered this. So we're getting to drip feed that through, whether people apply or if their circumstances are slightly different, they might still go to university and have a different entry point, but they're now aware of what our opportunities are. Likewise, South Tees and Tuve, it's not just been the colleges, they've done outreach to job centres, food banks, all the different people that might be interested in changing their socio-economic status that might have been inactive. And again, just raising the profile and helping us reach into those communities that we might not normally speak to about EDI, welcoming more people into our teams and how valuable that is for us all. So it's been fantastic. We are hoping that a lot of the teams are changing some of their establishments to increase band 2, 3 placements available for people that are coming through, whether that be insights, apprenticeships, T levels. So if you are thinking about your succession planning for maybe team members that are due to retire and where you're going to get that new talent from, it is an absolutely brilliant way of finding that talent. You might have that band 2 role, they might come and perform amazingly well. We know not everybody does well at exams, and this placement opportunity takes people that haven't even got, for example, a grade C. We are trying to encourage them as well, though, that to take that GCS opportunity to restudy and, you know, take on further education within the roles, which in the NHS we're amazing with, and we're hoping that the buddies can help highlight that as well and what the opportunities are, because if we find some diamonds, we really want to keep hold of them within our teams. So as Ben says, we are looking for people that are knowledgeable about your teams. You might have a bit of curiosity as well about how you can bring more people like these students into your teams. So see that as an opportunity for yourselves as well as giving them the opportunity for stretch and networking. So there's a lot of benefits to it. So please do reach out to Ben and I if you would like to be a buddy. And again, as Ben says, it's open till the 24th. So if you can, please push it to anybody else that you think might be aware. If you've got younger family members, friends of family, if you've got anybody that works in a college or a school, please shout out about it to them, because we want more. We've got, as Ben says, 41 applicants for Yorkshire and Humber. It's about 13 per ICS area. And we've got 14 in North East North Cumbria. So it's fantastic, but we've been told we really need about 3. We need to times that again by a third to try and make sure that we get some really, really great candidates. And hopefully we'll have fantastic opportunities to say, can we maybe take more than one? Do we need to up that within our establishments? We don't know how it's going to go, but thank you so much for helping out, and anything you can do to support will be really appreciated.
Yeah, and just to finish off, I forgot to mention, as part of the Skills Development Network, what we're offering the students, I keep calling them students because I used to be a secondary school teacher, so I'm still in that mindset, but what we're offering them, which nowhere else in England, is a training curriculum that we offer alongside. So One NHS Finance will be offering them additional training opportunities, as well as everything that's open via the Skills Development Network. But a colleague and I have developed their own curriculum. So each month they will come to us, they will learn these necessary skills to be able to work in not only the NHS Finance, but anywhere. So we're focusing on communication, Microsoft skills, resilience, mindfulness, and all things. We've got 10 sessions in total, which we are developing just for these students. Like I said, we're the only ones in the country offering this, so ONF are kind of having a look at us as a case study and seeing if it works. Maybe others will kind of deliver something similar. But yes, we're creating a portfolio for them to create throughout their placement year. So by the end of it, they will have CPD certificates, they will have evidence of skills that they're being able to achieve, and they'll be able to use this in their CV or in their applications for other jobs. So it is a really beneficial placement year for them, and we're very excited to kind of see how this goes and hopefully how we can expand this going further. But like I said, we're hoping to get some buddies, so please send an email if you'd like to learn more, or set up a call via Teams and we can discuss what it entails. But like I said, it's 1 hour each month, just an informal chat with them to kind of see how they're getting on, and how you can inspire and help them in their career journey. So thank you for listening to us. Back to Jo.
Brilliant. Thank you, guys. That's great. Really good program. Like I said, really proud to be part of this region. We're doing really well in this department. So great. Thanks for all your input on that, guys. Right, we've got 10 minutes left. So if anyone's got any questions or would like to raise anything else under any other business, please raise your hand. If not, I'll just start rounding up. I can't see anything. Anyone got any more comments? No. Okay, well, hopefully you've all enjoyed that session and thought it was worthwhile. It feels like really positive from my point of view. Really interesting speeches and presentations from everybody. Fascinated by the AI. I thought that was great. So definitely we'll be looking at using that a bit more going forward. I should have used that when I was doing my slideshow, that's for sure. Okay, so I'm just going to say one thing, just as a little value maker, sharing some information. I've noticed in my life as I get older that the more sleep I get, the better. And I actually can't function without sleep. And I found a little podcast that I use to help me get to sleep when I've got too much on my mind, and it's called Nothing Much Happens. And it's just stories about the day-to-day life of somebody read out by somebody with a really calm, nice, peaceful voice that just sends you to sleep. It's very rare I get to the end of the story. She repeats it twice. You'll definitely be asleep by the end of the second one. So if anyone's having trouble, Nothing Much Happens is a really good podcast to get you to sleep, because I think sleep is all that matters. So that's my little thing that I would like to share with you all. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you so much for attending, and please do spread the word that the next one is in September. I can't remember the date, but it's on the ONF website. If anyone's got any queries, please do get in touch with myself or Laura and Ben or the other ICS leads and all of the Value Maker leads that are on the slide. Thanks very much, guys, and hopefully I'll see you next time.
Thanks, Jo. That was really good. Thanks, everyone, presenting. It was really interesting. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, Jenny.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
I think Aoife has gone and she's in control of the recording.
No, anybody